Hi guys, Wise Predictions here. Today we are going to talk about understanding probabilities when using our AI-powered sports betting predictions. And there's an easy, but also a highly important concept that needs to be understood when using the predictions. So let's start. So what is the probabilistic approach actually? Let's go through an example. Let's say that for a given soccer match, we have the following predictions. A given soccer match can obviously end with three potential results. Either the home team or away team is going to win the match, or the game can end with a tie as well. And if these are the predictions that we have here for each potential scenario, 50%, 30%, and 20%, and since 50% is bigger than the other probabilities here, the expectation for this given match is that the home team is going to win the match. And if we want to go for double chance betting, then we need to pick the biggest two probabilities here, 50% and 30%, and the prediction is going to be that the expectation is that either the home team is going to win the match or the match will end with a tie. So if we just look at the singles prediction here, which is home wins, what does this 50% mean here? So does that mean that the home team is always expected to win the match, based on the current performance situation of the teams, or does it mean something else? So before answering this question, let's go through another example, which is not necessarily related to sports betting, but still a relevant example to understand the problem itself. Throwing up a coin. When we throw up a coin, and when it lands again on the ground, we're going to see either the head or tail on top of it. So if we ask the question, what is the chance of seeing head versus tail after throwing it up? So the normal and reasonable answer is going to be that we're going to see head versus tail, and it's going to be 50% chance for each scenario. And if we want to try this out in practice, and if we start throwing up the coin X number of times, the expectation then will be that we'll be seeing 50% of the times head versus 50% of the time tail. But maybe it's not going to be the case. So what we're going to see is that if we throw the coin up a number of times, maybe in the first one we're going to see tail, then the result is that 100% of the time it is tail. If we keep throwing it up, so maybe heads are going to be more, and later on maybe the tails are going to take over. So it's going to, as we keep throwing it up, so the results are going to be fluctuating around 50%. And if we say that if the ultimate truth is really that the chance of seeing a head versus the chance of seeing the tail is really 50% and 50%, then the expectation here is that if we keep throwing the coin up an infinite number of times, the number of heads versus number of tails will get closer to each other, so that it's going to be almost 50%. Even after millions of times and maybe billions of times, if we keep throwing it up, it will still not be 50.000%. Maybe it becomes, I don't know, 50.000156 or something. But at one point, it is supposed to come to 50.0%, but even that is not guaranteed actually. The expectation again is that if we keep throwing the coin up X number of times, and if this X here, the number of times we throw up the coin, if we increase that number to the infinity, the expectation is that the number of heads versus number of tails will get closer to each other, so that they're going to be almost 50% and 50%. And it is still not guaranteed actually, it is an expectation. We are kind of predicting the future. But right in the beginning, it is more difficult to find the 50%. If we are lucky, it may become 50%, as illustrated here in this graph as well. Maybe at this point here, it becomes 50% and 50%. But later on, the head takes over. Maybe it becomes again 50%, 50% again at one point in time. But if we keep throwing them up, it's not going to be the case, especially in the beginning, that we're going to see numbers that are close to 50%. So, and also this graph here, it is just an illustration. It may not look like this, when you try this out in practice. But the easy to understand reality is that, if we just throw the coin up, say 10 times or so, it's not guaranteed that, the number of tails will be equal to a number of heads. So if we try to apply this understanding to the problem that we have, let's go through the example that we talked about in the beginning. So this is our prediction, singles prediction, which is 50%. And we can actually apply the same logic to this problem as well. And this 50% is, what this 50% essentially means is that based on the current performance situation of these two teams, the home team and away team, the prediction is 50% for the home team to win the match. And if teams have exactly the same, assuming that teams have exactly the same or identical performance situation, and if these two teams happen to play against each other, let's say an infinite number of times, the expectation will be that 50% of the time, the home team will be winning the match. Or if we take that discussion for double chance betting here, if they keep playing to the infinity, let's say, and prior to each match, they have exactly the same performance conditions as they have today. So 80% of the time, the game is supposed to end with either the victor of home team, or the game is going to end with a tie. So if we illustrate this thing on a graph, so the picture is going to look quite similar to the tail and head problem when we throw up the coin, for example. So let's assume that teams have exactly the same performance condition, and if they keep playing against each other, which is actually in practice not possible, the performance situation of teams today will not be the same tomorrow or the day after as the time goes on. But in theory, let's say that they have exactly the same performance conditions, and based on that, they keep playing against each other. So the results are going to be fluctuating around 50%, which is the chance of home team to win the match. In some cases, the home team will be winning the match, in some cases not. But if they keep playing to the infinity, if they play an infinite number of times against each other, the expectation is that the half of the teams, half of the games, will end with the victory of home team. And this may still not be the actual truth about the current situation, because maybe the models are missing some other parameters, like there are certain things that you cannot really model, such as maybe players maybe have family problems at home, maybe the referee on that day managing the game or directing the team game, so to say, maybe referee is having a bad day, or maybe I don't know, they are sick or something, maybe they have a family member who is sick at home, or relative or someone. So bunch of things that may affect the mental health of the players and the referee and the whole game cannot be modeled. So that 50% maybe is not the ultimate truth for our prediction, but that's the kind of prediction based on the performance situation of the teams, let's say. So if you want to model the same thing for double chance betting, what we expect is that the results will be fluctuating around 80%. Maybe it starts with 100%, maybe it goes down to, I don't know, 60-65% at one point in time. But if they keep playing against each other, let's say having the same performance condition, identical performance condition prior to each given match, so the results will be fluctuating around 80%. So if we compare the singles prediction and double chance betting prediction, so what we see is that the results are expected to fluctuate around 50%. That's the prediction. It's not guaranteed. The double chance betting prediction is expected to fluctuate around 80%. So from this angle, obviously it looks like it is more relevant to go for double chance betting. But when you are developing your betting strategy, you should also consider the odds. If let's say that if you manage to predict the matches correctly 80% of the time, can you really build a betting strategy based on the odds, so that even if you lose some of them, will your strategy be returning a profit at the end of the day by compensating your losses here and there? Because 20% of the predictions will still fail in that case, in the long run, obviously. So what that really means is that since so whatever the prediction is, either 50% or 80%, the results will be fluctuating around that. Will be closer to that one. But what the finding from these examples is that the higher the prediction accuracy, higher the prediction confidence, sorry, higher the accuracy. So if the prediction for a given result is 40% or 50%, 60, 70, 80 or higher, as the prediction confidence goes up, so the accuracy is expected to become better and better as well. So maybe from 50% to 60%, from 60% to 70%, and so on. So if we want to give an example based on our historical results, so this graph is generated based on more than 6,000 matches that we've had predictions for in soccer. So this is for our home wins predictions as an example. Home wins prediction accuracy per confidence interval. So in the x-axis here, we see the prediction confidence interval. Here in this particular example here, the expectation for home team to win the match is given as between 35 to 40%. And it happened to be the case that 47% of the time the prediction was correct. And in this x-axis, as we go to the right-hand side of the graph, the prediction confidence goes up, so that we actually expect to have higher accuracy results as well. And the y-axis is representing the accuracy results. And if you look at the trend of this graph, it is improving, it is going upwards, right? As we go to the right-hand side of the graph, where the prediction confidence numbers are higher. So this graph is actually kind of proving that if the prediction confidence goes up, we are getting higher accuracy. With other words, let's say that the prediction confidence is around 75 to 80%, so that the results will be fluctuating around 75 to 80%. That is at least the expectation. It is not guaranteed. Obviously, you can't make a prediction for something that's going to happen in the future with 100% confidence. It's not possible. A bunch of other things may affect the thing that's going to happen in the future. So it is important to mention. But the accuracy results happen to be around, the accuracy result at least today is 77%, just in the middle of 75 to 80% prediction confidence. So it's kind of going hand in hand. And if we have a look at the prediction confidence examples where the prediction confidence is between 80% to 99%, the accuracy happens to be 88%. So it's kind of going hand in hand. So numbers seem to be fluctuating around there. So I hope that this presentation could explain the picture better for understanding how to use probabilities when developing a betting strategy. And for soccer matches or all other sports predictions, what you're going to see, at least in our platform, are probabilities. And understanding probabilities and how to use them is highly important when developing your own betting strategy. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.